questions?
Have you been able to mobilize any of the communities in the struggle and network with them successfully?
In our town, it's very, very slow. People are afraid. No one wants their name on their face because they feel that it is as if they're going to have retaliation on them. So it's been a very, very slow process. However, other groups, bigger cities, are more receptive because they really, really get it. So definitely have been able to mobilize in that aspect. And so what I've been doing for our small town is getting those families from other cities to come in and share their stories. It's kind of sad when you start hearing these stories and you're numb and don't really have any kind of emotion about it. And then you go on with life as if it's normal. This is not normal.
Because we try, as Muslims, been stricken by the war of terror. In our own communities, we find the same fear. Fear, at least from people in our community. If they want a name, they donate without giving checks. They give cash. And they don't want their names to be mentioned. So some of the girls of the men who are in prison, when people come to ask for their hands, and then they find out that the father is in prison for this reason or that, they run away. They are scared. They don't want to have to do anything with the family.
And we see the same. Everything that you're saying is exactly the same.
So how do we get over all these things? I mean, we're trying to teach.
I think, and that's what I was going to say. I think for us, it's about even if it's a small group, we still will meet and we still will educate. I think consistency has grown some of our following as far as in our town with having more support because they realize, oh, they aren't going anywhere. Let me go in and listen. I have the family out of Oakland, the Oscar Grant family. They're actually Muslim religion. And so I do a lot of visiting the mosque and things like that with them. And I just love the energy and the focus. It's just totally different definitely from Krystal. But it's just totally different. Like they're on fire and they get it. And so initially when I started, it was crazy because, like you said, the stigmatism about Muslim. You know, people started to look at me as if I was crazy because I'm hanging out, and it ended up being a video that was put on Facebook where I was in the mosque. And I even had my oldest, which is 26, actually like looking at me and thought, what's going on? Mom, are you becoming Muslim? And I'm like, yeah, you were not born. These are literally his words, I swear to you. You were not born that way. Your grandma didn't raise you like that. And I'm like, raise me like what? But that was, I would say, a year and a half ago. And because I stayed steadfast and just continued to give him the knowledge as I received it, and he saw what was going on, he gets it. Took a year and a half, but he gets it. So that's when I say just stay focused and stay steadfast, and you can only do what you can do. But while you're doing that, they're watching, and the light will shine, and eventually, like it clicks, and you start to really, really get that support that you're looking for, more and more.
Unless you're a fighter like Hamza, I guess, and Abdullah. Mr. Muhammad Abdullah. and you're a scary cat, and I'll just stay away, you know.
I think like the best thing to say was, like you said a lot, really things. One of the best things is how you work with those who community. Like unfortunately, in Deer Park, we are part of the most community that's completely blind. They are just so whitewashed and so crazy. They're think backwards and everything. To the point where when a black man was shot, he was actually chased from Dearborn to the neighboring city of Detroit. He was shot. They started out with like hashtag Blue Lives Matter. And Blue Lives Matter. Blue Lives and Black Lives Matter. But he didn't do anything. He had a gun. He was just running. And so I think that one of the things that we can do is we can, like locally where you're at, if there's a Black Lives movement or there's like a movement or something, if somebody from a different culture, different race or religion has something going on with a cause, yeah, involve yourself in it.
Exactly.
But you don't lose anything by coming together against the
Injustice.
yeah.
Right.
Because everyone's basically the same.
Exactly.
Just different. Like how you said that you talk to you, it's the same thing for us.
And I'll have an event, and I'll have people in my community that will come on and they'll say, and they'll hashtag all lives matter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't get it at all. And then they literally started having rallies where they would meet on the corner. And I'm talking about other black people, where they would meet on the corner with their signs, all lives matter, and they did it just to fight against what we were saying. Like if you can put that much energy into, I'm not the person that you need to be fighting. You're fighting against the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? So
I think one of the ways maybe you can help us relate, one of the common problems that I have is people think they must have done something wrong, right? That's a common, just like any time a black person dies, well, he didn't listen to the cop in the exact way you wanted to have him do something, right? Or just, you're just looking for something, right? And same with within the people here. So how do you respond to those people and maybe you can take away something and help us understand how we respond to others?
I know for me, what I started, and it actually kind of started after our fellowship, was change the narrative.
Okay.
So I started like a small group in our town, and they're starting to pick up on it. And it's just changing the narrative, the labels and everything that they think about us, giving it to them from our perspective, and just really pushing it. I'm actually trying to start like a small change the narrative kind of literature that comes directly from our community. And it's about us, for us, by us. And so when things happen in our town, we're able to tell our story the way that it needs to be told. We're able to tell about Lil Johnny's life the way that it really was, not how you perceive it from the outside. So it's just about changing the narrative, involving, like she said, if there's something going on in your neighborhood that's Black Lives Matter or any kind of different group, but they're about the movement, involve yourselves and tell your story. It was definitely a pleasure when I met Mom. Even though I've already, been around Uncle Bobby and the Oscar Grant family, they are African people, black people like me who are now Muslim religion. It's different for me when I actually, you feel what I'm saying? It's different because I have never had that experience. And so I was telling her my little story about, I'm a nurse, so I go to people's homes and I have a patient, and I couldn't remember exactly what he said, but he was basically saying something about Muslims, and he felt like this person was wrong and they all just kind of needed to go away. And I looked at him and I said, what did you say? he kind of said it again, whatever it was, and I told him, I said, you know what, I have black people that I do not like, that are crazy as hell. And some white people. They need to go away as well. Are we gonna send everybody away?
Listening to the future president.
Exactly. And I was telling her he's in a motorized scooter, and he's not old, but he's older than I am, and he just looked at me and he took his and he put it on fast forward, just turned around, and he took off and went in the house. But I know he heard what I said because I said it very clearly. And that's because of my interactions with real people and learning. So it's about educating people and letting them know that it's not what they say, it's not, these are the truths to the stories. And so once you learn the truth, people will start to stand up, and it just starts to, now I tell my stories to my children, and they tell their stories to their friends. And so it's gonna catch on like wildfire, and eventually, because I'm hopeful that this is the way that we're going to change.
We can't stay in our own bubbles. We have to speak up.
Exactly.
I tell my story to everyone. And sometimes some people tell me, why are you talking? Just keep something to yourself. You don't know these people. Why are you telling them? They may take it their own way. They may think he's a criminal. I say, let them think what they want.
Exactly.
And then I tell them about the website. And I say, go and Google. You know, you will find some for him, some against him.
Right.
Read
For yourself.
for yourself and come up with a conclusion. But this is my side of the story. But if we stay silent and we keep it to ourselves,
Nothing's ever gonna
we
change.
will never change.
Exactly.
That's the least we can do.
Right.
If we can create coalitions, if we can, do it at a larger scale, at least one person at a time. But we have to continue.
But I will tell you personally, from dealing with families, and these are not all families that are just killed by police, it's all kinds of families that are just engaged in the fight and in the movement for equality and for human life. They are welcoming. They're always asking, what else can I do? Why didn't I know about that group? Where are they? I have people in my inbox, what's the next event? Where's the next rally? Where can we go? People are always, because I'm telling you, this is the way that I've made it since 2013, is attending functions and talking with people. So the families that I know and the organizations, they're always looking to connect with other people and build. And we're not just saying we're trying to connect with all black people. It's not enough of us and half of us aren't real. No, we need, I'm just being for real, we need true fighters. And it doesn't matter race, religion, none of that matters. As long as you're focused and headed in the right direction and towards the human life and what needs to be done.
So what opportunities is
Currently, we've had a independent autopsy done because, of course, the medical examiner says he was never struck. We actually had his actual medical examiner, who was the person who was hands-on, was the medical examiner from Trayvon Martin's case. And so I met with him. He wrote me an affidavit saying everything that needed to be said. Plus we hired an independent. He said everything that needed to be said. So I took all of that information back to the state attorney, and they looked at me and go, yeah, still not enough. And so you look at this and you're like, okay, where's your boss? I've been calling his boss, emailing his boss, paying for money forever. Never, ever has she responded. Not once. The state attorney, the original, the head state attorney, has not responded. I've had an opportunity to speak before the United Nations. The final report came out, I believe, in September, which has Marlon's name listed as, and questions the United States of America, why hasn't he received justice? We've seen the video, we've heard the stories, we've read the documentation, Why aren't these people receiving justice? I've been to the governor, which, Governor of Florida ain't gonna do nothing, but they can't say, I don't want them to backtrack me and say, why haven't you done? I'm making sure that I leave no stone unturned. So it's just about going systematically up to where it needs to be. And I just feel that one day, God's gonna give favor. There's going to be an open heart and open ear, and my pleas are not going to fall in their ears. So I'm like you. I have to tell the story, because you never know. You never know who you're telling that story to, or who that person may know. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about connection. So currently, it's still a closed case because nobody wants to question the judicial system. The grand jury has spoken, this is what I'm told, the grand jury has spoken, and that's our system. The police officer was fired. However, he still has his credentials. That's just another part of the whole cover-up. When an officer is fired, there's a form that's filled out that goes to FDLE. And the FDLE decides if that officer can continue to be an officer somewhere else, keep his credentials. And it's based on how that form is filled out. So I have a copy of that form. And it basically has one check on it. Has nothing about who killed Marlon, doesn't have Marlon's name on it, nothing. The FDLE knows nothing about that. So he currently still has his license. So he could actually come to your community and be an officer at one of your police departments with the same mentality that he has.
His whereabouts are known, where he lives.
He's still in DeLand. But he's not living that productive, like come out like most of the officers nowadays that you see, where they start up the GoFundMe account to raise a whole bunch of money, they become millionaires for killing brown and black people. He hasn't done that. They tried to do a fundraiser, and we blew it up. So one person showed up, and all of us. So they couldn't. If they raised money, they raised it privately. But he has not returned to normal life. I think he's been spotted maybe a couple times, but that's it. Because I look for him. I'm sorry. Okay.
ये जो डर और खौफ जो लोगों के लिए फैलाया गया है, इस डर और खौफ को सबसे पहले दूर करना पड़ेगा। क्योंकि मेरी एक मिसाल आप लोगों के सामने है, मैं बताती हूँ आपको। मैं भी बहुत डरती थी, मैं भी बहुत डरती थी जब मेरे बेटे के साथ ये हुआ। 3 साल डर के घर में बैठी और खौफजदा हो गई, क्योंकि यहाँ के ना लॉ पता थे, ना यहाँ की कोई चीज़ के बारे में पता था। मगर जब 2007 में मेरी बेटे के सेंटेंस वाले दिन पूरे घर को इन्होंने उठा के जब जेल में डाला और 11 दिन बाद में रिलीज हुई थी, उस 11 दिनों में मैंने प्रिजन में जो चीज़ सोची, क्योंकि अब ना मेरा बेटा मेरे पास था, ना मेरा हस्बैंड मेरे साथ था, दोनों रोजी रोटी कमाने वालों को उन्होंने अंदर डाल दिया। अब रह गई 2 औरतें। अगर मैं ये डर और खौफ को अगर नहीं निकालती, उनके सामने खड़ी नहीं होती, और अगर मैं ये नहीं बोलती तो आज मेरा शोहर बाहर नहीं आता। और मैं इस तरह से जो अभी बोल रही हूँ, ये सब चीज़ें मैं नहीं जानती थी, जो मैंने सीखी, और अब मैं इनके सामने हमें चोट पे खड़ी हूँ। अब मेरे अंदर वो खौफ नहीं है, क्योंकि इन चीज़ों से लोग डरते तो हैं, हम नहीं भी डरते हैं, मगर इस खौफ को दूर करना पड़ेगा। बेशक हम बात ना करें, कुछ ना बोलें, पुलिस वालों से हर कोई डरता है, क्योंकि ये बहुत चालबाज में मकान हर चीज़ की टेक्निक करते हैं। हम साइलेंट खामोशी से हर कम्युनिटी के लोग, चाहे ब्लैक कम्युनिटी, चाहे मुसलमान कम्युनिटी, चाहे लाटिनो मैक्सिकन, चाहे कोई भी चाहे कोई भी गरीब, क्योंकि सबके ऊपर अलग अलग तरीके से ये लोग जो हद इस्तेमाल करते हैं और लोगों को डराते हैं, किसी को मार देते हैं, किसी को जेलों में लंबी सजाएं दे के डाल देते हैं, और फिर जेलों में मार देते हैं और टॉर्चर करते हैं। इस काबिल भी नहीं छोड़ते, उनके सारे ट्रायल को दूर करते। तो ये डर और खौफ तो हम लोगों को दूर करना पड़ेगा, वरना कौन लड़ेगा इस टाइम। तो सब लोग ये तो हम लोग खत्म ही हो गए इतिहास से देखा जाए। मैंने बहुत सी चीज़ें अपनी आंखों से देखी और मेरी फैमिली पर ये गुजरी हैं। और आज मैं पुलिस स्टेशन के हेडक्वार्टर पे खड़ी होकर बोलती हूँ, उन्होंने मुझे कभी इससे अच्छा था मैं 3 साल पहले बोलती तो कुछ फायदा होता नहीं। मगर ये डर और खौफ हर कम्युनिटी के माओ को, बहनों को, बेटियों को, चाहे खामोश होकर भी व्हाइट हाउस के सामने खड़े होकर सिर्फ ये उठाओ और कहो कि अपने सिस्टम, अपनी पॉलिसियाँ ये बदली करो, ये सारे नाटक बंद करो, ये डर और खौफ जो हमारे अंदर फैलाए ये बंद करो, ताकि हमारे लोगों की तकलीफें तो एक ही हैं, ये ज़रा कम हो या खत्म हो, क्योंकि हम सब तबाह हो चुके हैं।
The level, the fear that was talked about that we have, it has to be the primary thing that, in some ways, it's our primary enemy, and I think we have to combat the most. I used to be afraid too when my son's case first happened in 2004, and for 3 years I just sat at home, crying, being afraid, and doing nothing. And I didn't know the laws, I didn't know the country, I didn't know the system. And I just stayed at home in fear. And then in 2007, the same day that my son was sentenced 30 years to prison, that night immigration raided my home and took me, my husband, and my daughter off to detention. And it was in those 11 days that I thought about my life. I had thought about my current situation. I thought about the fact that they had taken away my son and were now taking away my husband, leaving only 2 women to take care of the family and defend themselves. And I realized that if I didn't remove my fear, that my husband would not get out either. And so now I'm in their face all the time. Since the day that I come out, and since the day that I came out, every day, anytime I get an opportunity, I take advantage of it, and I use every opportunity I can to get in their face. People are afraid. I used to be afraid too, but we have to stand in their face. When we're Black, Muslim, Latino, immigrant, any of the poor communities, they're doing the same thing to all of us in different ways. Whether it's killing us, jailing us, torturing us, and you know, our families, our lives are being destroyed anyway. And so it is better to, the destruction is going to happen no matter what. So at least we continue to speak out while they do what they're going to do to us. So today I stand in front of police headquarters. We have to come together as families to stand in front of the White House to demand to change these policies and demand to change the system.
Everything she said is exactly right. They definitely tried to put the fear in you when you speak out. I think not even a year after Ronald was killed, I actually ran for city commissioner in our town, realizing that if I was elected to be a city commissioner, that I would be the boss of the police. Trying to be very strategic. Of course, they did everything they could to make sure that I was not elected in. But during that time of campaigning, I had platforms where people had to listen. And so I took very, very good advantage of the words and the messages that I sent out about what was going on. That also provided me with an opportunity to make connections that I continue to have. And definitely taking full advantage, like you said, of every opportunity to tell about the injustices that are happening to our families. We also work in our community understanding that the system of oppression that they have on our communities and kind of help to railroad us sometimes where they want us to be. not providing decent employment, not providing, decent housing sometimes. Well, people need to feed their families, and I'm not saying that doing other means of acquiring income is the right thing, but if I gotta feed my family and you've now taken away my husband, or vice versa, or whatever, I'm gonna make sure that my children eat. So a lot of times, the systems that they place on our communities help to guide us into where they want us to be. Now we're drug communities, and now we're thugs, and now they can come into our communities and they can harass us, stop us. Now they have us arrested. Now we have backgrounds. If we wanted to get a job, now we can't. And now, how we it's a cycle. And they get us into that cycle, and then that cycle just continues. And we're asking for ways to come out. Nobody's born and wakes up and say they want to be a drug dealer, or they want to be something that's not productive. If you ask any child what they want to be when they grow up, I guarantee you that's not what they're going to say they want to be. But again, the system of oppression on people, on minorities, that's the way that it's set up. And then we are, Trump gets up and he talks about our communities. Right, yeah, right. We don't have fathers, we don't have this, we don't have all of that because you guys keep taking them away and killing them. Or put them in jail and torture them. Exactly. So it's just about us coming together. Again, my fight, in the end, my mission, my vision is the same as yours. Human rights. Marlon deserved to live. He had the right to life, the right to freedom, the right to be Marlon. Your son has the right to be him. Everybody. Where you sit, your loved ones had the right. And so, like I said, our end vision, our mission is the same. So why not fight together? They can't, if we come, like I said, we come united all together, there's no way they can continue to say that. We have to come out strong. We have to come out not in fear. Like you said, if they're gonna do this to us anyways, we might as well not go down easy. I'm not going down without a fight. The scariest thing, I think it was about a week ago, my son and his friends went to IHOP. My son is 15. And I get a call and I'm like asleep. But I get a call and I answer the phone and all I can hear is my son's friend on the phone saying, Miss Krystal, come outside. But I can hear my son in the background saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I'm still on the phone and I'm trying to get it together so that I can walk to my door to come outside. And I'm listening on the phone because now I put it on speaker because I'm trying to move around and get myself together to walk outside. And I can hear my son saying, just don't shoot me. Just don't shoot me. What the hell? I open the door. They're in the driveway. My son's literally like has his hands up. He's saying, just don't shoot me. Just don't shoot me. The other kids are like screaming. My son's girlfriend's there. She's bawling. The police are all out there. And I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on? As soon as they saw me come out the house, and I don't know if it was someone who didn't know that was my house, because pretty much all the officers know that's my house. As soon as I came outside, his whole tune changed. But what if I wasn't there? What if he had gotten stopped and the police got behind him somewhere else? 15, this is what my son has to deal with. My daughter is 17 now. She was 16. The officer stopped her. And literally, the police get behind her. She calls me on the phone immediately. Mom, he's behind me. What do I do? Answer his questions. Where are you? Okay, I'm only 5 blocks away, I'm on my way. The whole time I'm on the phone. I can hear what he says to her. I can hear what she says to him. By the time I get there, my daughter is 115 pounds wet. By the time I get there, he's jerking her out of the car. He's turned her, spinning her around, put handcuffs on her, put her in the backseat. 16 years old. Why are you arresting her? For resisting arrest. Well, what did she do? She refused to spell her name. Yeah. 15, 16, my son, all this is 26. And I know it's all because I'm the big mouth of the town, so they harass my children. My son is 26. He was 25 when he was stopped. Of course, he knows, picks up the phone. I can hear the police on the phone yelling, "You called your mama yet?" So he knows who he is. My son has a Camaro, so it's kind of low to the ground. He's like 6'3". And I can hear the officer saying, "Get out of the car, because I'm afraid." What are you afraid of? My son has no background, never been arrested, nothing. What are you afraid of? This is a black man, a black community that you've labeled as a drug community because he's driving a nice, shiny red Camaro that he had to have purchased with drug money. All of these labels. And now you're setting it up because you know what to say, because you know what you get off on by saying you're afraid. We are the ones that are afraid, not y'all. We're not killing you.
You have the weapons, you know?
Exactly. If your loved one is in prison, what can that person do to make them afraid? To make them get tortured, killed, hung. And the saddest part is when you see this all caught on video and we can't even get a trial. An indictment does not mean conviction. That doesn't mean anybody's going to jail. It doesn't mean any of that. Indictment just gives us an opportunity at justice. An opportunity to sit before your peers and hear the facts openly. Transparency. That's it. So we have the best objective evidence, the best of the best, and still not even get that. And you say justice for all, justice for some. It's not all. So, again, I'm with you. I think it's important, and I'm going to share this with families, I think it's important that we even be more educated on what you guys deal with. More details, so that we really, like like you're saying, you want to connect, we need to really understand what you're going through in your communities. I would love to have, someone come and talk directly from you. Like you can hear it from me all day long, and it's cool because they know that I'm not going to lie to them. But to actually hear it from the source, it's life changing. I know it's changed my life. So I would love to, like, our next event, something to have a different kind of dialogue from different people.
United we stand.
That's right.
Divided we fall.
Yeah, and we're not following. That's not even an option.
Thank you, everyone. We don't have anything else planned for the evening.
But I guess my head does.
I think so. There's nothing planned. How many of you have relatives who are afraid to talk to you or associate with you?
Very much.
Right. How many of you have like friends or neighbors that you've known for a long time in your life that are afraid to talk to you or associate with you? I think one of the reasons that we make so much of an effort to pull together this conference, like I work closely with Shahina, I also work with some of the families in New York. We work so hard to make sure people come here is, in many ways, this is a place for families to be able to build with each other in ways that we can't even do in our own homes with our own families. So there's something very special about this space. And I think similarly, there are similar families, Black communities and other communities. And so I think really just thinking about how do we use this to strengthen the bonds between us as families, and then also to strengthen our bonds with other families and circles of families, is really sort of how we start to build a movement. And so I think it's just a reminder to say that like it's barely 2 days that we have with each other. If that's where we want to get to, what do we need to do for us to be able to be at that place? And we should think about that around the time that we have here. If that means we want to do things differently, like, we can figure things out, but like, this is precious time. And it's a time that can yield a lot of opportunities. And I'm honored to be here with all of you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to say?
I always feel like, I come here, I said this every time probably, and those who have been here every time I came are bored of me saying the same thing. That I come and I feel pumped, and I feel good about connecting with everybody, listening to all these terrible experiences with our own communities sometimes. And you go back, you feel helpless because you have to earn a living, you have kids you have to take care of, you get so overwhelmed with life trying to make ends meet, and then you cannot do much to help the case. I tell my daughter I want to soon be able to, retire? Retire, that's the good word to use here. Retire and go and speak about love, and teach about it. My husband, who once went in a walk, I can't forget this, the year he was fixing to surrender himself with the Latinos in downtown Dallas, regarding immigration law. And he was calling, with their words, supporting them, carrying their flag downtown Dallas. He had Omar, who was 5 years old, on his neck, and he had, the flag. We want to support all causes. We want to do so much. How do we continue to do that? How do we continue to keep this fire burning and at the same time have the means, financially, physically, mentally, be able to continue the struggle? But we come here, we feel so great for a month or two, and then we're back. It's just, we want to continue working, we want to continue, because it is healing. How can we do that?
Do you guys have like, I know, and I can't even think of what she calls it, there's like some app that gives you where you can talk amongst each other? Yeah. And so do you have something like that, like already in place where you can talk once a month or whatever the time frame would be?
I think it's on my social media, and add a group number. I think the challenge for us is that we're all over the country. And once everyone goes home, they're back into their own
so that's why I was saying about, because we are too, a lot of us are. They're all over. And so she started the one where we have conversations. I think she does it like every 2 weeks or whatever. We started every week and now it's every 2 weeks. And so,
Is it a set time?
yep, it's a set time every Wednesday. And we discuss like policies, like there's always a topic. We discuss policies, you know, we tell them there's going to be kind of upcoming events because we know that we can't get to everything, but some things we can get to. Some things we can support, and those that we can, you know, I may not be able to get there this time, but she gets, we're going to be there, however it needs to happen. And so, there's always a topic. I mean, right now, you know, with the presidential stuff, like there's a lot of talk about that and, you know, different things we're saying. Support, and that's what we're saying. Right. But it's still a good way to network because I was telling, somebody I told, like, for me, this weekend, I needed, not only for here, that I'm leaving here and going somewhere else, but this is my weekend to refill. Because I feel like I've just given out so much. And like you said, you just get drained. And then it's just a whole different level when you said you have that space where you're with people that think like you.
Recharge.
And you recharge. And like you said, it does. But like 2 months, 3 months, it's like, okay, I need another recharge. Where's the rally? Where's the, you know, where? But that every other Wednesday, I can look forward to hearing, you know, maybe I didn't do anything over the last 2 weeks, but guess what? My fellow family did, and I may get an idea or something. I'm going to hear something that's going to, oh, I've never tried that. Or I never looked for that form. Or just to hear that positive, oh, I got a trial date set. All of that stuff is just encouraging. So you still need to be able to network. And I was told that the app was free, so nobody's like it costs nothing. And they have it where you can actually see each other. I can show you one that they showed me that we're using, but it's really neat because we can actually see each other. So we get on there and like we waste the first 15 minutes, hey, because you actually like get to see like, and you still have a face with the name, and it's just building, and it just keeps you going. When you don't have money to get where you need to go, you know where you want to go, where you want to be able to go. But you know, so maybe that's an option just to kind of start with. And then, like I said, you share like upcoming events and dates and whatever, and then you just, as much as you can, just mobilize and come together. I would definitely like to, I don't remember the name of the group, but figure out how we can come together. And I know they won't be against like inviting us, we're always to come on board. So, I mean, you guys can join our group, you can join your group, like we're all in it together, the family. We always say it's the group, it's the club that nobody ever wants to be a part of, but thank God the club is there, because I don't know how I would have made it without the club, you know?
I guess some communities are more proactive than others. I know in New York they do a lot of.
The bigger cities are like on fire. I mean, I know with me, our city being small, it's hard, really, really hard.
So you are in your own space. With the level of your activity.
You know what, and I say that all the time. I was sharing with Sasha.
Oh, sorry.
That I actually, I'm a therapist too, and I got my therapy license in California because I felt like my community, like I really feel like I've outgrown my community. So I got the license in California because I was going to go there for the summer and just like start spreading my wings and sort of like, you know, do an assignment there and then maybe go to another bigger city and everything that I attempted to do, every job, like I would get a job and it would fall through. And then I would do something else and it wouldn't come to pass. And you know, I was just running. I was running 100 miles per hour and getting nowhere because I was really trying to run from my little city. And so it was crazy. I don't know what I went through, but it was like I just let all my inhibitions go, and I said, I'm not gonna run anymore. Obviously, this is where I need to be, and whatever it is, I need to do it. And I promise you, almost making me tear up a little bit. I'm serious, I promise you, the day I made that commitment, doors have just been opened in our town. Like, you sure? Okay. Almost kind of scary, but yeah. So I guess I guess I said all that to say, I guess I'm starting to sit down. They need help too.
And I'll just say, like, so we're going to have a session on Sunday, which we attempted to do in previous years, just to get feedback from you all in terms of how do we continue to work. I know that this has been a constant concern / criticism that we have these conferences and that there's really no follow-up from year to year. So we want to really make this the year of no excuses, right? We want to leave this conference saying there are no excuses for us to not continue the work from conference to conference. That there are things that we can do that don't even require that much effort, that we should stay connected, that the staff of NCPCF does what they can, right, to promote this work. So be thinking about that over the weekend, because I think we should really make a commitment. Because honestly, when it comes to Muslim organizing, we know that this is probably the most radical group there is. And unless we continue to push the other groups, we're not really going to get anywhere, right? So as we go through the weekend, I think I'm glad that, Fahad has brought this up, that just to elaborate on things we can do. We really want to make sure that this is the year, again, that we can really push the work.
That she's going to share our story later more in depth tomorrow. She's going to say a little thing that, like an incident that happened to us on our way here today.
And I don't know how we are so that experience.
There was three people younger than us, or I mean 3 people under 18 today when we were like going on our way to Maryland. We came from Minnesota, so we were leaving the MSP airport, and then there was 3 minors that were with us. And then when we were just going on this flight, like it was right in the beginning, we were just getting our like our board tickets and putting our like stuff on the luggage and all of that, and then it just they were just kind of taking long, so we're thinking, oh, maybe they're just checking and clearing like the names or whatever. And then it took like longer than expected, so we're just sitting there like, oh, it's no big deal. And then afterwards, you know how you get your ticket board and then you go through where you're gonna get like searched and stuff. Yeah, TSA. So then we were going through it, and then her son, he's 17. So he went through first, and then there was a bunch of people like behind us and stuff, and then none of us like really experienced there. Like you can tell like when you go to like everyone always talks about Muslims, we get our like pulled aside and stuff, but then like it was weird for us to actually like experience it, because there's like a bunch of people around us and they're just like going through, and then we just noticed like small things like where they're scanning their ticket and it just like flashes like green, so they can like go through and stuff. And then with him, he got escorted by like like 10 like TSA people like surrounded him, and it was just weird. We're like like he's 17, like, and it was weird because usually you have to have a minor have to be accompanied by their parent, so it was just weird. We're like, oh, go with your son, and then the lady was just being weird and like standoffish and stuff. And then so there's just a normal one that everybody goes through, and then there's the 360 monitor that like is spinning, and you have to put your hand up, you have to just do all this weird stuff. So it took about like 2 hours. Yeah, and then the ticket, it had like So on the bottom, it had like 4 S's on it. So it's like something that's like that the the airport staff like identifies right away when they're seeing it. So the people are just being super like rude to us, and whenever we're like why are you guys trying to give us a reason or what is it? And then so with him, then after that it was like 3 steps of like searching. So you go through that huge monitor and they spill all of your stuff out, and then they're just like, oh, can you put it back? Like, they're just being like super rude. You know how when you're packing, you take your time trying to like stuff everything in, and then you have your phone and they're just like dumping everything, and then you have to go through a different like yeah, and then
3 SRS now, like upper SRS now. So upper class S, so upper middle doing all.
yeah, so it's like the 4 S's, like, I don't know what it meant, but we had like 4 different searches, so you have to go through a thing, and then they like completely like violate you when they're like searching you, they like go up places and everything, and you're just like, what the heck, like you're just out of your comfort zone. And then it was just so ridiculous because it was like 3 minors, like what would, and it on top of that, it was like, it was her and us and my other sister and all of that, so it was just, yeah, it was,
So cabsashada intaas leeg markaan magaalo soo galayna ama magaalo kale aan aadayno intaasoo dhibaatada nama siinayo cabsashada intaas leeg sidee noogaga baabi'i kartaa
so I think maxaa ku daab
cabsasho waa soo maxaan hadda lagu abuuraayo oo nala baaraayo waa ka baqaynaa inaan meel kale aadno.
So now it's just like, it makes you kind of uncomfortable when everyone's kind of just looking at you and you're just a group of people, and and then now it's kind of just like a fear to just fly out and just thinking about like, oh, another hassle of just, oh, like, am I going to be questioned? Am I going to be put in a room? Or is my flight not going to go through? Or it's just like this, so I feel like, what should we do to like stop this racial profiling when we're going to like the airport, when it's like minors that don't even, like little kids, like even girls that are 15, 16. So a way to kind of like put that, address that issue, because it happens to a lot of people. Even when we were going, we seen an old lady, not to there's an old lady, she was literally in a wheelchair, and she was, covered up just like us, and she went through the whole monitoring and everything, and so we kind of need to address that issue as well. So, yeah.
For me, me and my kids, we know if it doesn't look right, our phones come out and we video and we write complaints and we will blast you out. Like, don't let them get in your head and make you afraid of anything. I was laughing when I came in from Florida. I literally will wear a I hate police shirt through there. Seriously. Like, Black Lives Matter. Like, seriously, because I want you to mess with me. Seriously. Like, they tell me all the time, don't do it, you're just going to delay our flight. I'm like, I don't care. And when it happens, you better pull out your video, your camera. And we're going to put them on blast. For real. So do not let them get in your head. It's not a problem with us, it's a problem with them.
So Muslim lives matter.
So I think we'll end now so everyone can go back to sleep. But I do want to do one thing, which is to do little chants before we go to sleep, just to get everyone energized for tomorrow. So I'm going to say, what do we do when our communities are under attack? And you guys say, stand up, fight back. Okay? So what do we do when our communities are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when our communities are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when our communities are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
Okay, so join the fight tomorrow at 8 a.m.
I just want to say thank you for having me. I will not be here in the morning.